Sorry. Okay, wasn't sure if I was recording. Oh boy. Okay, so my name is Rebecca Pierce. I am going to talk a little bit about the autism spectrum disorder, and how we as teachers can utilize the information and knowledge about the disorder to help support these students who are struggling with ASD and help them access the greatest education that they can receive, and also keep them incorporated and included in the general education. So, first off, what is autism spectrum disorder? ASD is a neurological and developmental disorder. It's generally found and diagnosed in childhood by a professional, and it will extend and continue to affect their life through adulthood. Frequently, we know autism as a disorder that affects social interactions. And so it affects how people act and interact with others, especially understanding and communicating with people, and obviously in their learning. It is a spectrum disorder. It ranges from mild to severe. And so I'm sure you've heard phrases like high functioning autism. And people with high functioning autism, you frequently wouldn't even know that they struggle with ASD. They're very independent and can hold down jobs and all of these things, and are high functioning. Whereas these symptoms can also be very severe, in which they need substantial support from other professionals. So because it is a spectrum, you get a very wide range of symptoms. Again, most of them coming back down to understanding social cues and interactions. And so they'll have problems communicating with others. A big one is lack of eye contact or inability to maintain eye contact. That also comes along down here with abnormal body language or tone of voice. Uh, because they don't understand these social cues, body language might feel a little bit off or a little bit different from what is the norm. And tone of voice, that also has to do with a delay in speech or speech comprehension, and also just understanding those social cues. Those with ASD frequently can be hyper focused on things as well, and so restricted interests here. They will be hyper focused on a specific topic, or a specific thing to do. So they might have repetitive behaviors, especially putting things in order or something like that. And then another big thing with ASD is overstimulation, because they don't understand how to cope sometimes with the world around them. They can frequently be overstimulated by too much light, too much noise, just kind of chaos in general, that might get them overstimulated and overwhelmed. All in all, it kind of seems like they're in their own little world, and kind of have their own thing going on. So, diagnosis of ASD, like I have said previously, frequently occurs in childhood, by professionals, a team of physicians, and experts to perform various tests and evaluations to diagnose that. We're not really sure what causes ASD. It's definitely not vaccines. As a pre-med major, I just want to get that out there loud and clear. Vaccines are good. Please vaccinate your children and yourself. But ASD, again, is relatively unknown what causes it. We believe that it is genetically based. We're not sure which genes, and honestly, because of the range of spectrum, because of the spectrum and the range of symptoms, in my personal and professional opinion, I don't think there's a single gene that causes autism. But we have seen that we have seen familial patterns and relationships with ASD, and so we do believe it to be genetic, and occasionally environmentally based. So, what does this mean as a teacher? As a teacher, we have the wonderful opportunity to help these students um, incorporate themselves appropriately into the general education classroom, and find a fulfilling education. And so, the biggest thing, honestly, is to read the IEP, the Individualized Education Program. This IEP allows for the students to maintain routine and regularity in their education. That's extremely important for children with ASD, this routine and stability. And so as you read through the IEP, you can find out kind of like what their home life is like, what things have worked in the past from previous teachers, or previous experiences with other IEP team members. And then you are able as a teacher to maintain that trajectory and help these students and these children work and continue to work with their disability and find the success. And so, along with that, please maintain open communication with the parents and team members. There are a lot of different people on the team with an IEP with an individual, and maintaining open communication with the parents is extremely important as you are able to get help from them, also provide help and support, and just keep them updated on what is going on in their child's life, so that they know how to best support and love and encourage their child as well. Another big thing in teaching is to know how to set up your classroom effectively and appropriately for students with ASD. Honestly, a lot of these setups are valuable for all kinds of students, not just students with ASD. And so, as we discuss these different changes or applications that you can have in your classroom, recognize that this provides stability and consistency for all students, which would honestly help most students be successful anyway. So I found this really cool diagram online about different ways or different aspects of the classroom to keep in mind when working with children with ASD. And one of the big ones up here is on the board right here. You can see a visual aid to help know what that classroom schedule is going to look like. As mentioned previously, students that struggle with ASD frequently have a difficulty communicating verbally, whether that is comprehension or production of communication. And so having these visual reminders set up is really important and valuable for the students, to, if they're unsure or not really processing what you're saying to them, that they can learn visually, and always have that in the background in case they are feeling uncertain or unstable. Along with that, just keeping organization in your classroom. So having distinct classroom areas, that they know that this area is for this specific thing, right? So, for example, the supply area, that's where it is going to be every time, and they find stability in that. A class discussion area, this is where they might need to sit down and be serious. Whereas the group work area, they're able to be more communicative and expressive with their peers, and free time area even more, right? And so developing these boundaries and these routines and almost safeguards, so that they know how to cope with transitions, and knowing what they need to be doing or what they need to be focused on in a given area will help them cope and move forward with the activity that they're supposed to be performing. Any kind of chaos or rough transitions can be really difficult for children with ASD to know how to cope with. And so this is just a really powerful way and opportunity for them to maintain stability and control over their lives and their emotions. Two other things that I wanted to point out is this timeout area, and then these glasses, earplugs, and hats up front. Um, if a student with ASD is overstimulated or feeling overwhelmed, knowing that there's a place that they can go to regain control over their environment and regain confidence and stability is really important. So if they have this designated timeout area where they can go and reach that calm, and if they have sunglasses or earplugs, if they're being overstimulated by light or sound, that can help them frequently regain composure and help them cope with their environment. So this is ideas for physical setup. As I previously mentioned, these visual cues are really important and really helpful for students with ASD to be able to have a little bit more control and understanding of what's going on around them. Also, creating a positive environment is obviously extremely important. This as directed and supported by your IEP team members. helping educate other students in your classroom is really important, so that they can create these positive social experiences and help and not ostracize or isolate the student with ASD. And kind of along with that, knowing, understanding, and developing positive relationships with your students, and with the specific student with ASD is really important as you learn how they communicate, how they cope with situations, and what might be triggers that are overstimulating or overwhelming to them. That's really powerful and really valuable as a teacher to develop those relationships and help the student know that you're there for their support and their success. And your other students seeing you working and loving the student will also want to more likely pick that up and also develop positive relationships with their fellow classmates. And so that's just a really important way to develop a positive environment in your classroom and then also with your individual student. So as teachers are able to incorporate these things more into their understanding and presentation while teaching, we're able more fully to provide these students who do struggle with autism spectrum disorder access to an appropriate and general education so that they can be involved in the, I don't want to say real world, but involved with other students their age and other classmates and be set up for success so that they can receive all the benefits and blessings that a proper education has in store. These are some of the resources that I used. AutismSpeaks.org is awesome. MedicineNet just helped me understand a little bit more of the disorder itself. And then this one was really awesome, the 6 Steps to Success for helping with education and students, and obviously this one as well. Same kind of idea, helping specifically with teachers and students with autism. So I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, this has been fun.